Hey guys, okay, so we're doing with lesson 2.9, unit 2, lesson 9. This is all dealing with scientific notation. So it says understanding scientific notation. What is scientific notation and why is it used? So that's the essential question you should be answering should be able to answer after we get done with this lecture. Okay, so I'm going to go off the examples that they did. It'll take me a little bit, but I want to do this long term as far as like really expand it out so you guys can see. The biggest thing to learn here is scientific notation, and that's this right here, scientific notation, where it has multiplied by a power of 10, and then standard form. Oftentimes that gets lost in the mix. Okay, students will go through and it'll say put this in standard form, and they don't know what they're talking about. What they mean is to just put it in your regular form that you're used to seeing today. Okay, so here's the first example. This is from example 2, and what they're talking about here is how do we put this in scientific notation. Now the first thing to remember in scientific notation is you always have to have a number in front of the decimal. Only one number. Okay, only a number in the ones place. So we'll go to that point. So in other words, my decimal is here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So 3 is our big one. So in other words, this becomes 5, and we multiply it by 10. Okay, now the biggest thing is the exponent. Now in this situation, because it is representing a smaller number, okay, and remember I told you with exponents, it doesn't go through and make a number negative by using a negative exponent. It makes it smaller. And so because we're representing a smaller number, we would put -3 as the exponent. Okay, guys, this becomes -3 because this 5 is representing actually 5 thousandths. Okay. Now we're going to go the other direction. Now, if you don't understand any of this, remember to ask questions in class. Now this one gets huge because this is 10 to the 18th power. So in other words, I'm going to write this out. I'm going to put 9. Oops. I'm going to put 9. And I already worked this out. I don't know why I want to keep on putting 2. Getting ahead of myself here. 9, 2, 2, 5. Now, what we do is we go through. Now, I got lucky because I worked this out. So the best way to do this is to actually put dashes down, and then we go through and fill those dashes in with zeros. So in other words, the decimal is right here, so I'm going to move it this way. So I move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This is going to be a comma here and a comma here because I've already worked it out, so I know where they go. And then we go 0, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0. And now, like I said, this is represented here. This is why we use scientific notation, so that we don't have to go through and write this all out. We can represent it here. And a lot of scientists will go through and do this to represent very large numbers or very small numbers. And if you notice what I said before, scientific notation, this is scientific notation, this is standard form. Okay, guys, so you can see how tough that is sometimes to go through and do the entire number out when they ask for it in standard form. So now I'm going to go to B in example 3. So that was for example 3. And B says we're going to do it the opposite direction. This is 6 and 3/10. So this is B, 6 and 3/10 multiplied by 10 to the -8. And I want you to know this multiplication sign, when we use the actual X, this is the only time you'll see this really anymore, because we would use multiplication by saying, putting that little dot so that it doesn't get confused with the variable. But we have to recognize this is scientific notation, so we need that X in between. Now, because this is a -8, we should realize that this is a smaller number, not a larger number. So in other words, I would go like this and put 6.3, right? 6.3, the same number. And I'm going to go through and move this 8 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm going to put my decimal here because that's where it belongs. I'm going to put another one here. The reason I always put a 0 in front of the decimal is so that people recognize when I say it correctly that I say 0 and, because then they know that I'm talking about a small number. So then I fill this in with zeros. And I erase the decimal that's over here. And this becomes my number, okay? So this is scientific notation. This is standard form, okay, guys? So then the exponent determines whether it's going to be smaller than the number that's represented here or if it's going to be larger, okay, guys? Now for the bonus. This is a pretty quick lesson because we're just talking about scientific notation. We're going to do quiz number 3. The reason I picked this one was because you guys aren't used to seeing this in a calculator, and this is what it would look like in a calculator. Okay, if I went through and I did this number, it would say E14. That means it needs to go out 14 places. Okay, so in other words, I would go like this. I would rewrite this again, 8.234. I'm starting here and I'm going to go 14 places out. In other words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, then I'm going to fill these in with zeros. And they're going to ask you guys when you put this in the quiz to put in commas where they belong. Okay, and so then at this point, I go through and look at this and I go, okay, I need one here, I need one here, I need one here, I need one here, and that's it. And I can erase that decimal there. So this is what it would look like, scientific notation, or actually not even scientific notation. This is just your standard form, but the way it looks in a calculator. No, it is scientific notation because you got the decimal here, right? But this is what it looks like when we put it in standard form. So you're actually going to have to type all of that out in the quiz. Okay, guys? So once again, that's lesson 2.9. If you have any questions based on this, then make sure you ask them in class. Hopefully everything's going well, and I will talk to you guys soon.